We are live. Welcome back to the European League of Football live show. I'm your host, Offseason, with we're both. I'm your co-host, and I'm with my other co-host, Nick. How you doing?
Silas, what's up, man? You have a good Christmas?
I had a great Christmas, actually.
There we go, man.
I'm hearing a echo here. What's going on? Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I'm hearing a little echo. Hopefully, that'll go away there.
Okay, we're good.
We're battling the technical difficulties.
All right, we have a lot to get done today. We're recapping the entire 2023 season and all the new signings, of course. So we better jump right in.
Absolutely, Silas. You want to do it for us? Let's jump into the signing center, big blockbuster signing. Who do we got first on the list for this week's signing center, Silas?
I think everyone saw this coming. Jadrian Clark re-signed with the Rhine Fire. Why would you go anywhere else? MVP, champions, got an incredible organization, most fans in the game. Why would he go anywhere else? That's not news at all.
Yeah, I mean, not a surprising one at all. Just what a perfect season, and he's playing football in England right now for the University League, getting his master's paid for. So
I mean, if there's one person who has figured out, one American who has capitalized on a European football to the max, it's Jadrian Clark. That guy, he has it made over there. He's got his passport as well. That really helps out, his Irish passport, so he can stay over there. But man, he's killing it.
Absolutely. He's crushing it. So that brings us to another big signing, another quarterback returning to their franchise for 2024. Paris Musketeers' own Zach Edwards. Zach, as we all know, he had a killer season with Barcelona 2 years ago and ended up going to Paris this year. Paris started off struggling a little bit, but I think a lot of that was due to them being a new franchise and them playing the most difficult teams right out of the gate. He really settled in. People are excited about Paris for 2024. I know I am. Not too surprised about Paris going back with Magic Zach.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. I wonder if they'll also re-sign Kyle. That's TBD.
I know.
TBD. But number 3, moving on. This is an interesting one, obviously for me specifically. But Carlton Aiken signed with the Helvetic Guards. I didn't see really much of him last year. He was only in Barcelona for a couple games.
Right. What do you have to say to a new American going to the Guards house?
I'll tell you this, Carlton. Switzerland is the most beautiful place in all of Europe. Out of all the teams that you could play for in Europe, the Helvetic Guards is the best place if you want experience of just beauty. All right, beauty, okay. Clean, chocolate.
Sure, you're giving a lot of good positives about the country of Switzerland. There,
it's a beautiful place, man. I love that place. Let's keep going.
All right. So the next big signing we've got kind of an exodus from the north, from Hamburg Sea Devils. One of the big ones, Evans Yeboah, who was an ELF All-Star, born in Ghana, been killing it, been one of the best defensive linemen in the ELF. He's going south, leaving the north, headed to the south to the Munich Ravens. That's a pretty big one for them. I mean, dude, Silas, Munich is just loading up.
I'm telling you, man. I told you last week that they're my sleeper to win it.
I would not be shocked at all. I mean, I'd be like, week after week, they're just signing great players. That's not the only all-star to leave Hamburg. I'm sorry to our producer, Maxie. Silas, who's the next all-star that has left?
Kevin Forte. He's gone. He's gone to the Madrid Bravos as well. It seems like everybody is leaving Hamburg, and apart from just a few. Actually, you know, I am here with what it looks like the 2024 Hamburg Sea Devils.
Exclusive interview. Oh, you're gonna get.
You gotta roast somebody. I'm just gonna roast somebody every week. We never actually played Hamburg.
Yeah.
So you know, there's no way to compare if you would have beat the Guards last year anyway. And then moving on, let's keep going. This one fooled us.
Yeah,
we talked to him when he was in Mallorca with his buddies, and we thought he was going to go to the Ravens, but where'd he go, Nick?
Nico Strayman, Frankfurt Galaxies, not joining up his buddies with the Ravens. Frankfurt with a big signing there. He's going to be up with the Galaxy. We'll see how the Galaxy looks. He'll be catching balls from good old Luke Zaraka. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for them in Frankfurt. So those are some of our big signings so far this past year or this past week. There's also another one. I don't know if we have a graphic for it. It was just announced. Zachary Blair, and I'm not sure if we have a graphic for it. We do have a graphic. Good job, Maxie. Zachary Blair just announced, I don't know, like an hour ago, going to the Milano Seaman. He's been kind of a journeyman linebacker. He played for the Surge. He played for the Istanbul Rams, played for the Cologne Centurions. Now his fourth ELF team, the Milano Seaman.
Yes. Something tells me that Zach is all about the travel because he keeps going to different places, and he's good enough to where he probably could have gone other places, but I don't know if he's played in Italy and he probably wanted to go there. So
that's true.
That's always a great part of playing football overseas is you can just go find teams wherever you want to live.
Exactly. And he's one of the few American linebackers. Obviously you got him and then you've got AJ Wentland, kind of two of the big name American linebackers. And like kudos to him, man. He's keeping it going and he's getting that experience, just like you said, and now going to get it down in Italy. Hopefully bolster up that Seaman defense because damn, they were rough last year. Boy,
I hate that. I still hate that name. The Seaman defense.
I know.
Seaman
well,
more like it.
Anyway, seems like a good time to move on. So that was our signing center for the past week. And now, Silas, we've got a recap for 2023. This is a pretty.
Yeah, let's jump into it. We got a lot, so we got to move fast.
We got to move fast.
Caught up talking too much, so let's jump right into it.
Okay, here we go. Talk to us.
All right, so we had 6 franchises join the ELF this in 2023. So what do you get from like 12 to 17? Was that right?
It went 17? to 18 and then it went to 17.
Okay, yeah. So 18 franchises, like major jump. Like I feel like this year, 2023 was, if it was going like this was the moment where it just like shot up. It really shot up, and TV contracts, all those things. We'll get into that, but we had Munich joined, Milan joined, Switzerland, Helvetic Guards joined, Paris joined, Prague joins, then Throners joined. So I mean, we literally had, let's see, Italian, Swiss, French, Czech, and Hungarian. So we had 5 new countries join. That's huge.
This is a European league. It's pretty awesome, and I think both of us probably were most impressed. I would say for first-year franchises for me, and I think for you, Silas, Paris and the Munich Ravens. These were probably the most well-run for the first year. We did unfortunately have a team leave the league this year, so that's why we went from 18 to 17. The Istanbul Rams unfortunately had to pull out from the ELF this year. A lot of things going on. It's the tough economic situation in Turkey, and that's the other side of all of this. You've got all the stuff on the field that we get to see, but there's a lot of people working on the back end of these teams and organization and the financials and the logistics and making everything work. Unfortunately, Istanbul just couldn't swing it and couldn't handle it this year. And so we see here they had a statement right there where they had to pull out of the ELF for that season. So that's unfortunate. That's tough. And that's just kind of part of it. Like, I mean, I've talked to, who I talked to about this a lot, Jordan Newman. Obviously I'm close with him. And he always says the ELF is it's like a startup, like a startup company. Move fast and break things. And sometimes when you're doing that, you're going to have situations like this where things don't go entirely perfectly for every single team. It's always maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back. What do you think?
And that's been every single league in Europe. That's not just the ELF. Like the ELF, I don't think, it's not like it's going to have less problems than any other league that's been started. It's just a bigger scale, and so that's expected, and we see it late. We see that happen later in 2023 with the Prague Lions as well. Rules changed. That was another big thing. The playoff format changed, so I think we went from 8 European imports to 6.
Right. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly because I didn't play the year before when it was 8. Um, but I think I think ultimately the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker. Like I
Sure.
don't think that it necessarily could help. Like it could help the other teams, but you still have to have the money. So if you
Right.
don't have the money, it could cause more financial problems, team problems, and so um, I don't think that was a bad decision. I don't know how much that would affect it. I don't think it was that big of a deal to switch that to 6.
Right, and especially with something like that, I mean, every team has the even amount of European imports allowed, and so having it be even across the board there, I think it's fine, and ultimately these teams and this league is trying to cultivate and generate homegrown talent, for each of these countries, so that's what we got there. Like you just touched on, Size, the playoff format expanded from 4 teams to 6. I'm a huge fan of this. Gives us a whole
Mhm.
round of playoffs. We got basically a wild card round and then the semis, and then the championship game. And so we see here we have, of the 6 teams here. And I think that I'm a huge fan of that because in 2022, it was just 4. It's done so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think 6 is good. I think 8 would be too much. Um, having half the teams in the league go to
Right.
the playoffs, almost half would be too much. So I think 6 is a great number. Um,
Right. I
yeah,
think I would say if it keeps expanding, maybe we get to 24 teams. Then I would love to see 8. I would love to see 8, maybe 1/3 of the teams get in the playoffs. It's kind of like the NFL ish. I think 14 NFL teams get the playoffs out of 32. How's my math on that? It's not great.
one maybe what would be cool is you put like the 2 worst teams and play them together.
There you go,
Like
kind of a
have
relegation game.
you have like a relegation game, just like for like it's just to really solidify who was the most trash team in the league. Like who am I going to point out and be like, that's Prague Lions, Like
The
we know for
distinctive.
maybe we call it the trash championship game. All
There you
right,
go.
let's keep
Let's move
going.
on.
Let's talk about the blockbuster signings, the biggest signings of the offseason going into 2023.
Yep.
Um,
So, first one we got here on our list, obviously, Markel Castle to the Munich Ravens. That was huge, and he had a crazy season, damn near unstoppable. Tons of yards, tons of touchdowns, and was really killing it in Bavaria down there. But we know
yeah,
he's not there next year. But for 2023, that was a huge signing for them. Then who we got
yeah,
next?
dominated everywhere. I think the biggest one people were I think this one and one more, which is the next one. Sandro Platzkummer.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
he was probably most known. Well, him and
true.
Mobo, signing with the Raiders. That was a big deal. And then let's just keep going. Talk about more. It's Boringer as well.
Yeah,
You play with
Mobo
Mobo.
to the surge. That was huge. I remember, obviously, Moritz. He was the first European to be drafted into the NFL without ever playing college football. Bounced around some of these practice squads, came back, and the guy's just massive after being on NFL rosters for the last 4
Yeah,
years. Unfortunately, he did get hurt in the first game of the season,
yeah,
which
yeah. Both
sucked.
of them did. But well,
Yeah,
Sandro did as well. But I think just because they were homegrowns that made it to the NFL, coming back was a big deal.
that's huge. And actually, there is maybe I shouldn't say yet. Now, you know what? I'm not going to say yet. I have some privileged information that I'm not allowed to share.
Yeah,
Um, We'll move on. I'll talk about it next week. So then we've got the Panthers releasing Nick Rango and Brenton Martin. This was just a few weeks before the season, kind of surprising.
yeah,
One was due to injury. I think it was that he would miss the first week of the season, but I believe the quarterback, Nick Rango, he was released due to performance issues. So like they just saw in the
mm,
preseason, like this is not going to cut it for us. And
wow,
so they dropped them both, and then they got Matthew Vital and Tony Tate, which ended up being
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. Those were great. Those were great calls.
Yeah, and now Tony Tate's going to the CFL. Like he bounced up, he
Mhm.
went one of the best in the ELF. Now he's got a CFL contract, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
What do you think, chat? Do we have any other Any other blockbuster signings from last year that's really stood out to you guys? See what we got in there, chat.
Well, I'm a little confused. I'm looking at our little program sheet, and I don't see Silas Nacita to the Helvetic Cards.
Excuse me, where is the Silas Nacita blockbuster signing to the Guards?
What is that? Oh, I'm hearing it's blockbuster, not bust signing.
Hey, man, don't sell yourself short. I know we got later in the show a nice, beautiful highlight from you.
Edwards and Kyle Sweet. That was a big signing for sure.
True.
I looking at their what they did in Barcelona versus what they did in Paris. Statistically, you probably could think that they had a less of a lesser season, but I think one they were playing the league increased in talent so much in 1 year, and they're on a new team, and everybody kind of was expecting that, so they were doubling Kyle probably throughout the year.
Exactly. Also,
so I still think that was a great sign, and if they can get him back this season.
Not to be overlooked is when they were in Barcelona, they had mastermind, genius, guru, offensive mind Andrew Weidinger as their head coach and OC in Barcelona, which certainly played to probably their success a little bit. And so kind of adapting to not having him. That's why you probably saw a less impressive statistical season. Still, big signing for Paris.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, Jordan Newman signing to – we've been talking about players, but Jordan taking over at Stuttgart, obviously, I think was the most significant move of everything on and off the field.
Right. That was a big deal, man. And that was like in Southern Germany, that was a real big deal and things. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. Some more things in the offseason, some plenty of moves on the business side. We touched on it. It's not just football. There's business here. This is a professional business. The big thing, I think, Silas, is the TV partnership with 7.1 Media extended until 2026, which is huge. Yeah. Games are going to be shown on ProSieben Max continually for the next handful of years. That's huge, man, because those TV contracts are very important in getting that. And we see like some of the viewership share week by week, and there's often very impressive numbers for the league. So that's a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, that right there is a night and day difference between this league and all the other leagues that have existed around Europe.
Right.
Like TV. We've never seen games on TV, and for a league to get partnership for another 3 years, that's a big deal. Like TV contracts are a huge deal.
That's the thing, man. Absolutely. Then what do we got next year? Championship game to be that was broadcast on ProSieben. And we've talked about this championship game before. There's a huge, great event. Looked great, probably looked great on TV. And this is like exactly what you want represented or want how football should be represented on TV. And it was announced that the championship game would be on ProSieben for the first time ever, which was a big, big milestone.
Which is public TV. That's
right.
The big key with this game is that it hit public TV. Public TV is where you're going to draw in all the people who didn't even know this league existed, because they're going to just be flipping through the channels and see it, and then
exactly,
maybe I should catch the next game.
And that's what creates new fans. Like, obviously you're going to have the diehard fans who will go and seek out, who will get the game pass, who will go to games, but people who are more passive fans and then just see this on TV and like, oh, what is this interesting American football? And that was a big thing. So this was all announced in January at the start of 2023. And then we move into February. Big deal here. There was a meeting between the ELF and the GFL, the AFD. And this was very important. Silas, we want to touch on this a little bit?
I remember this interesting how I found out about this meeting was something that you reposted on Instagram, and you said, quote, "Finally, people acting like an adults."
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I posted that.
I thought that was funny, and I agree, because like I feel like there was all this drama between all the organizations, and I was like, why have y'all not ever like talked?
Right.
We're all trying to grow the league here. Can y'all just figure it out?
Exactly. And everyone's goal here is to do what's best for football and for players and things that are in the best interest of players and the sport. So this was huge. This was really, really important. So yeah, that was in February. And a lot of people, myself included, were happy to see that. Then we've got the Paris Saints rebranded to the Musketeers. I was really happy about this because that's so much more of a unique name, don't you think? And like, there's an NFL team called the Saints. The Paris Musketeers has a historical significance. It's a cool logo. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely one of might be my favorite just name and mascot out of all the teams in Europe. The Musketeers. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, they have really good branding. Overall, really good branding. Yeah. One of their owners is a really smart, savvy media guy, and he's those guys are doing a great job with everything with Paris, and so I like that a lot. And then what do we got, Silas?
70% of tickets sold for the championship game by March.
That's crazy.
Selling tickets beforehand has never really been a thing in Europe.
Right.
People just show up to the game. I remember playing in the GFL, trying to go hand out tickets to people. Like, hey, come to the game, please. We'll pay you.
Please.
So
exactly, and the fact that like those tickets were sold before anybody even knew who was playing in the game. That's huge. Yeah, that means these are just fans of the league, people that want to see it no matter what.
That's huge. And then something really interesting happened in March with the Centurions. Talk about that, Nick.
Ooh, Silas. Coach Carter was released and replaced. Khalil Carter, he was the Cologne Centurions head coach. The thing is, man, he was going wild on social media, making public comments, very not very professional things, saying, kind of getting in petty fights, and just, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion, not representing his team well. It's not something you want to see your head coach doing or engaging in any way. Honestly, it was pretty shocking for me to see some of these and to see some of these messages sent. I don't know if that was exactly why they parted ways. But I would imagine it had something to do with it. What
were some of the things that he was saying?
Honestly, man, there's some things that I cannot repeat that I would not repeat these were like messages. These were private things, but certain arguments or kind of just talking shit to people in comments, like you have no idea what you're doing, to other coaches, and speaking about how he's just, just not in a great light, man. Not in a great light. And maybe I'll find some of these. I have some of these. Somebody sent me some screenshots, and I'll check these after.
Well, let's move on then to some really good news. Was Jacob Johnson's kids camp, and you were there, right? You filmed that?
Yeah,
video
for sure.
Of that?
Yeah, dude, I did the video of that. That was huge. It was like 150 kids or something. A lot of those big names in German and European football were there. Jacob Johnson, Ike, Coach Zume was there. Really cool thing, man. And this is like, obviously Jordan Newman headed up the football aspect of it, and you had all these surge coaches who are really great coaches and well-known. Really cool thing. They're doing it again this year. And this is the kind of thing that just gets me excited, seeing youth in football have these type of opportunities. I mean, this was a legit camp, dude. It was legit.
Yeah.
And they're doing that again.
That's awesome. Do we want to play that video? I want to keep going.
Yeah. Say that again.
Do we want to play that video? Is it playing right now?
It's playing right now. I think you guys can see this just without the yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, someone said it's real quick in the chat, the St. Brown's at Cologne. That was nice. I didn't know about that. So Amaran St. Brown was at Cologne for a visit or something. For those who don't know, he's a wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, half American, half German, speaks fluent German. And that's pretty cool. Nice. That's pretty cool.
Nice. I love that.
Okay.
We had some it was the opening press conferences that we had. The new team was announced, Madrid Bravos, that happened this year.
Right. Look at that.
Yeah, I remember that.
There you go. And then the announcement of the partnership with Euronics, who is very kindly sponsoring and putting on this show as well. So yeah, big partnerships like this, super important for the league. And it's great to partner with companies and organizations like this that are supporting American football in Europe. And this kind of stuff just couldn't be done without them. So that was a big announcement at that opening press conference. Mm-hmm. Then, Silas, head coaches. Plenty of
coaches.
New head coaches in 2023. Here's a question, Silas. Who had the biggest impact as a new head coach in 2023?
I don't think anyone can argue that Jordan Newman had the biggest impact. But I mean, I wasn't surprised, and I saw that coming. Like it was so predictable. Jordan is the GOAT of Europe. I'm calling it right now. Jordan Newman is the GOAT of Europe. He's played there. He's learned the language. He knows the culture. He's bought into actually expanding the game there. He's been successful everywhere he's gone, won all these GFL titles, got bored with that, showed up to the ELF with a team that was 0-12 the year before and goes to the championship game. You cannot argue that Jordan Newman is the GOAT.
I'm with you 100%, man. I mean, obviously I had the privilege of playing for Jordan for 7 years. And I can't say enough good things about him. And I think every single player that plays for him can't say enough good things about him. Obviously a great coach, a wizard on the offensive side, and he works really closely with Johnny Brenner and Cody Pastorino on the defensive side, brings in his staff, and just, what a killer coach, and turned around that Surge organization. I'm so excited to see what they continue to do under his leadership. The other point, Silas, is Shoop went to Munich, first-year program, actually did pretty well. And you were like kind of asking Coach Ellison about this the other week. We interviewed him. It was a little bit surprising that he was fired or they parted ways after that first season. What do you think?
Hot take.
Okay, here we go.
Shelton was the reason Munich was so successful, not John Shoop.
Oh, interesting. Can you?
That's
can you
my hot take. I mean, so much of the league is about players, right? The Rhein Fire was going to win it from the beginning because they had all the players. Like they just had the players. Granted, Coach Thomas Stula is a great coach as well. I'm not taking anything away from him, but they had by far the best players across the board, right? Munich had some really good players, and that was a direct result of Sean Shelton bringing people in. And without Sean Shelton, like really, I believe, I wasn't there, but this is my hypothesis.
Sure.
Sean really like counseled all the coaches into making right decisions because he was a player for so long. He understands the game. He knows who to get and why to get them. And without him, I don't think they are as successful as they are. And then also points to the fact that John Shoop clearly didn't do that much because if he had, they wouldn't have gotten rid of him.
Interesting take. I think I'm with you. I think Sean Shelton's presence cannot be underestimated. The guy's just an absolute veteran in the European football world. Obviously, great on the field. And I did a podcast with him a couple weeks after I did it with you last year, Silas. And obviously, I was really impressed with him. We spoke off camera as well for quite a while. And I just left being like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. And I know we're supposed to be talking about the coaches right now, but Sean Shelton behind the scenes, another wizard of European football. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, man. I'm not against your hot take at all. Let's move on to the actual season. Okay, now we're actually in the season 2023, 3rd of June. We had a game week poster. And there we go. We've got 17 teams, 9 nations, 1 goal, the 2023 ELF season. We had week 1 power rankings from the ELF beat writer, my man Tim Hans-Villamenke. There he is right there. That's a nice graphic. Silas, what do you think about this preseason?
Yeah. Come on, guards. Above the Panthers. That's why I always knew it. This is why I've talked crap about the Panthers, is because the guards right there. It's right there. We're better than
I think that preseason ranking was based just off you being signed to the guards.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Bust signing of the year right here. I'll take it. Me.
No, not at all. There we go. So that's what we got. Obviously, everyone, I liked that surge at 5. That was a good place to put them. Obviously, they made a ton of noise in the offseason, but nobody really knew exactly how they're going to piece it all together. Obviously, Ryan Fire, Vienna Vikings, that's easy. Paris, Tim was making this based off of the rosters and the signing and everything, and that's a good spot for them in the preseason.
Yeah.
The tough thing, and we said it before, was that you had to play so many hard teams right out of the gate.
Right. But overall, I think you can tell right here, just from this ranking, that there's clearly differences, and everybody knows it. Like the team, that all the top 6 teams, minus Paris, which you just talked about, everyone already knew that they were going to be in the top, and they were. Like, it was pretty simple.
Yeah.
We had a huge game, right? Largest regular season game ever in week 1. Ryan Fire and Galaxy. The Fire beat the mess out of the Galaxy again. Amari Williams had a pick 6. I think the biggest thing that changed the season, though, even for the Galaxy, was Jake getting hurt.
Yeah. That's tough, man. You asked him last week when we interviewed him about, do you have any concerns, or what do you have to say about people who bring up your injuries? And I think it's a fair question, because, if you have your quarterback getting hurt in week 1 right there, it's tough for a team. So you just touched on the attendance record, 12,600. That record stood for a whole 1 week, until the next week when Hamburg put on a show. 32,500 people for a regular season game. And I think this is when a lot of people were like taking the ELF real seriously. Like, oh, this is something else.
That was, I remember seeing that and being shocked. Like, I was shocked. I was like, what in the world? How is a team that is this trash in 32,000 fans?
Sorry, Maxie. Sorry.
Sorry, someone in the chat said Silas is gonna get him kicked off the show, because I don't care, dude. Kick me out of the show. This is we're in the beginning stages. It's not like we're making a bunch of money here. Kicking me off.
There you go. They have, our guys told us, our producers, this was the biggest football game in Europe since 2007. So 16 years, biggest football game in 16 years. Pretty damn cool.
Dang, that is so cool.
Yeah, we got a little after movie here. I think we got a little video clip to show you guys of that game.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Volkspark Stadion in Hamburg for a very special day in European League of Football history. More than 30,000 tickets have been sold for today's ELF Week 2 encounter between the Hamburg Sea Devils and the visiting Rhine Fire.
I gave the game my love, gave it all I had, with everything I got. You can never take that back. I put my blood, sweat, and my tears, dedicated for years. I am my brother's keeper. I elevated my peers, made history with victory. It's our turn now. Let's go now. Can't slow down. Oh no now. It's a showdown, and we ready for it when it's time to go down. We'll never give it up. Always level up, never back down. It's our turn now. We will rise from the fire. We will rise from the flame. We will keep raising higher till the whole world knows our name. It's our turn now.
Long run up. Off the deflection, Harris, the Sea Devils, forcing the game's first turnover. In the middle of the play, wide open. What a great leaping catch for the score by Matin Sorejo.
We will rise from the flame. We will keep raising higher till the whole world knows our name. It's our turn now.
And so the catch is made for the touchdown. Second of the game. That is Jan Philip Baumbeck. In the corner, back shoulder, complete for the touchdown to Stanley.
There we go. Pretty legit to see that. Yeah, 32,500 people. Pretty awesome. And hopefully we have more and more games like that in the ELF. So, Silas, moving on. What happened between weeks 3 and 5? I think the most important thing is you and I did a podcast together, man.
We did a podcast. And that was that's another thing that happened this year. Nick Alfieri, aka Nalf, started the European League of Football podcast. He did a great job interviewing people all throughout the year, and obviously the best one was with
Thanks, man. The best one was with Silas, one of the early ones. That was great. What was your head at? Like, and you were just getting started with your first season of the ELF. How did you feel at that time?
I was just really excited, and getting to talk to you about it was just the best, because you and I have had such a close understanding of our experiences. We've had the same experiences, and we both played in different leagues, and then saw the ELF start, and neither one of us had played in it. So we had a good perspective, like an outside perspective looking in. And then I was like jumping right in to actually experience it for myself. And so I remember that. That was a cool, I was sitting on my balcony in Switzerland.
Yeah. That was sweet, man. That was like, that was exciting for me as well. I was getting to catch up and talk about the ELF. Both of us having different involvements, you playing in it, me doing some of the media stuff. And so that was cool.
Right.
Then we've got Jadrian Clark. He threw 8 touchdowns, set the all-time record. 8 touchdown passes in a game. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was when we already knew that's when we knew he was going to be the MVP. Yeah. Like, you had the Musketeers, who are supposed to be super talented, and he throws for 8 touchdowns. And yeah, it was no brainer after that. But then honestly, what was bigger than that in that game was that 59-yard field goal. Like, that honestly is to me, that's like more impressive than Jadrian throwing 8 touchdowns, because I'm just like I'm not surprised by Jadrian throwing 8 touchdowns. It's not like, oh, cool, he did it. It's like, he can probably do it next week. So the 59-yard field goal, that's a big deal.
Dude, that's wild. That's NFL level legit field goal right there. There it is. We see it right there. And then we had whatever, kind of the opposite of an 8 touchdown game. We had the Innsbruck Raiders versus the Stuttgart Surge in Stuttgart for the lowest ever scoring ELF game. And I was at this game. This was in Stuttgart. I was filming it. Just an absolute defensive battle. This was unfortunately the game where Sandro Platzkummer got injured, which sucks. Obviously a blow for the team and a blow for the league. But yeah, just kind of a defensive stalemate there, and the Surge came away with a win.
Yeah. Yeah. Those games are always boring. I'm offensive guy. If I see a score of 6-3, I'm not watching that game. Like,
I know you're an offensive guy. For me, that's a beautiful score. I know how you offensive people are.
And then Terrion Robinson might have had the catch of the year against the Rhine Fire in week 4.
Let's see it here.
Beautiful one-handed catch.
Ooh.
If he could have caught that and stayed on his feet, then it would have for sure. And then scored a touchdown, then the catch of the year. But
these kind of highlights are so good for the league, though, because this is the type of highlight that kind of goes viral on social media.
Yeah.
And you know, like this is great for the league. So we had that catch, and then the Rhine Fire dominated in week 4 and 5. They had a 42-0 win against the Centurions, and then I don't want to say it out loud, but a 51-0 win against the Guards. Silas, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that? I'm sorry. You're breaking up.
So I was just checking out. I think this is okay to move on.
I can't hear you. But I think, tell them what happened next, though.
Let's talk about something that'll make you feel better. And that is your nomination for catch of the year. Silas with the crazy catch against the Milano Seamen. Ooh, look at this guy.
Okay.
Look at this guy.
So can I also talk about the fact that
talk to me.
The whole year, no one knew whether I was a receiver or running back or quarterback. In fact, I didn't know whether or not I was playing running back or receiver until about Monday or Tuesday of the week. Like, I never knew. I could literally typically what happens, I'd show up on Monday for practice, and I would hear, you're playing running back this week. Or, hey, you're just going to play receiver. Or, hey, you're going to play a little bit of both. Or I would hear running back, and then Thursday I would change to receiver. It was like all over the place. And so I kind of had to know everything.
Right.
And with this game, a lot of times I would just move out and we had to call different plays. I don't even know if this play was actually a play that we had. It was more so just like,
Yeah.
hey, go get the ball. But anyway.
I mean, that's the problem when you've got such versatility, man. I mean, I remember when we were playing against you in like the old GFL days and we were prepping for you that week, we had like different game plans for like, if Silas is at running back, if Silas is at wide receiver or slot, or if Silas is at quarterback. I'm just happy that those days are over. And so there we go. There's your nomination for catch of the year.
I'll take that. So, notice how I talked a little bit longer so I could keep letting that replay play. I was just keep watching. Keep watching. Yeah. Also, I'm still mad at the referee because he called me down by contact right there, and he didn't touch me.
Oh, so, he didn't touch you. Yeah, it should have been.
No, he didn't touch me, and they called me down. So anyway, we move on. Let's just move on before I get mad.
Okay, there we go. So we actually do a little on the more serious side of things. Middle of the season, the Leipzig Kings, unfortunately, had to withdraw from the league. Tough situation there. The management of the team was unable to continue on. I think we'll have the statement here coming up on the screen that kind of explains what was going on there. This is tough because, Patrick Azume, the commissioner, he did go to Leipzig and he kind of emphasized how the ELF really would like to have an organization in Leipzig. But a point to remember, and something that kind of like frustrates me, is when people really bash the league for when a team has to withdraw like this. We got to remember that the ELF is its own organization, and all of these teams are separate companies or organizations that have a partnership with the league. The league doesn't necessarily have control over the Leipzig Kings and how they handle everything, how they handle their finances and management and stuff like that. So it's obviously a tough situation and a tough look when this kind of stuff happens, especially in the middle of the season. Silas, you got anything to add on this Leipzig situation?
I mean, similar to Istanbul, that this is a new league, and just because you are getting a lot more attention doesn't mean that you just are free from all the same issues and difficulties that any other league has had. And this is just another reason, more proof of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, another great point that I've heard spoken about is the ELF it's in its early stages, man. It's a startup. It's moving fast. And teams want to be a part of the league. And, sometimes teams are trying to join it maybe a little bit too early, or no, they're not ready to be a secure part of the league just yet. So hopefully things can turn around in Leipzig. And we see a team over there in East Germany. So that's what we got there. And now, guys, we are going to head to a commercial break from our partner, Euronics.
Zu Hause ist immer jemand für dich da. Die Bäckerin, die dir leckere Brötchen gibt, die Friseurin, die heiße News für dich hat, der Metzger, dem nichts wurscht ist.
Kein Internet!
Und wir sind immer da, wenn du uns brauchst.
Ich installiere den mal schnell.
Euronics, für dein bestes Zuhause der Welt. Oide, 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 oide.
Okay, we're back. Let's talk about the homegrown running backs. Weeks 6 through 8, they balled out. I think this was the time that we really began to see that the American running back was probably gone. Like I remember during the season. Well, again, I played receiver and running back, so I wasn't just a running back. But I remember like a stat. Like I would see that someone would tag me in a stat, and I was like, I don't know, like 7th or 8th to a bunch of European running backs. And I only saw Europeans on that list. And I was like, dang, times have changed for sure. Because any other league I've ever played in as a running back, that the whole list was dominated by Americans. And now you see in week 6 through 8 that it's actually the homegrowns that were on top of that list.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, I think we touched on it last week. Like, you are probably one of the final American running backs, and unless a team kind of goes out on a limb and signs an A running back. But are there any signed for 2024?
I don't think so. And the irony of what you just said was you're the last American running back, and we just watched like one of the catches of the year was
true
by me. It was like clearly you didn't see me. It wasn't a running back highlight. It was a receiver highlight.
Exactly. So yeah, we've got these homegrown running backs absolutely crushing it. Then what do we have? We had Strama Nico. He had a crazy game this week. Stramania. That's a good graphic right there, Maxie. 9 catches, 175 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's just a solid wide receiver performance right there.
But then immediately topped by him was his teammate Leon Helm.
True. Exactly.
Helm
with something
medium.
Even more important.
Yeah, more important. Do we have that video?
We got that video.
He proposes to his girlfriend in front of the entire Frankfurt crowd.
That's pretty sick.
I don't know. I wonder if he talked to her beforehand and was like, "Hey, are you cool with being put on the spot in front of 5,000, 2,000 people?"
Plus thousands more on the streams and stuff. She's a football player herself and is a wide receiver for the German national team.
Look at that tackle, though. Are you sure she doesn't play defense?
I don't know, man. That's pretty good. That's a fun little moment right there for the league. That kind of stuff goes crazy on social media as well. Beautiful little moment.
But I'll tell you what topped that. What topped that was the Helvetic Guards upsetting the Stuttgart Surge, the soon-to-be finalists. So, I mean, I don't know. Should the Guards actually be ranked number 2 since we beat the number 2 team?
I think you have a case. You've made a case.
Granted, I will say Stuttgart didn't have their American quarterback. They had some struggles at QB. He threw 4 interceptions. We definitely. Yeah.
You know the real reason that they struggled. Their video guy was actually home in the States that week, and he could not travel with the team. And obviously, the video guy just couldn't help the team, and that's why they struggled. That's my theory.
Yeah, they had no spirit. Their spirit's done from the beginning. I also think they came in and thought they were going to just wreck us because we weren't performing well. But that was huge. That was a great time. I almost forgot what it was like to win, and beating the Surge was. It almost felt like, oh man, we're gonna really turn this thing around, and we're gonna finish 7-5, and that did not happen. But
it's a good moment, man. It had to feel good.
It was a great moment. Yeah, Jadrian took off that week again, and at that point in the season was on pace to get 55 touchdowns. I think he ended up 53, 56,
something right there.
53. He close to it, but either way, unbelievable stat. AJ Wentland was killing it in tackles. I think he would have finished on top easily if he didn't miss 2 games.
Exactly.
When Leipzig folded, Kyle Kitchens was going crazy.
Yeah, man. And then we have our guy Markel Castle cracks 1,000 yards. This was on July 22nd. That's pretty early on.
It was the same freaking play too every single time. Chad would drop back, fake the handoff, fake the reverse, step back, gone. It's the same highlight. And every time you saw him do that fake, I was like, guys, he's freaking throwing it. Oh, I hate that highlight. That was so dumb.
You're getting some post-traumatic stress on this show.
I was like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about
that. Then after that, a big signing. Obviously, when Leipzig folded and some of the premier big name players were looking for homes, people were wondering where are these guys going to go. And a big one was AJ Wentland, who we just talked about. And he was signed by the Panthers, a team that he is going to return to. That was huge. Wow, he was still the tackle leader, even for not having played for 3 weeks straight. Obviously, at the end of the year, Luke Glenna did end up taking the crown from him. But I think that's if AJ had those 3 weeks, he probably would have gotten it. But it's just pretty impressive, those kind of numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we move on to. I think this also happened during. During week 6 through 8. Another big drama of the league was the Prague Lions. That was crazy. I remember everybody was looking, just wondering what was going to happen. I know a bunch of the players voted not to play against the Enthroners.
Right.
Coach Zach Harrod was like fired. I think he stepped down. I don't remember, but it was just chaos. I remember they signed a quarterback from Nevada, that really tall dude.
Yeah.
And then he ended up deciding not to go.
Well, Silas, weren't you getting recruited by Prague? Didn't you talk to him a bit?
Yeah, I did talk to Coach Zach for a pretty good amount of time. In fact, there was like a moment where like people thought I was going to sign there, and but I don't know, man. I just didn't trust it. I didn't trust it because I never played in the Czech Republic. It's football's not that big over there, which means that they probably didn't have a lot of money. So I anticipated this happening. I didn't anticipate it like folding the way it did, but I anticipated a lot of financial issues, which clearly is what happened.
That's true. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what kind of went down with Prague. They did end up, however, being able to finish the season, and hopefully they're more solid. Even as someone says in the chat right here, hope the Lions have a more solid year in 2024. I think everybody hopes that. Obviously, it's just good for the league, and hopefully they can get some security with their new chapter in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Then week 9 was pretty damn crazy. Kind of a lot of things going on. Here we see the graphic for week 9, and there was a record set for the most points ever scored in an ELF game. The Panthers beat poor Prague, we just talked about, 73-13.
Yikes.
This was a record for a very short amount of time, because then hours, I would say. My guys, the Stuttgart Surge, went on to beat the Milano Seamen 78-27. That was down in Milan, and the Surge were just going crazy.
Yeah.
I did.
I think they were pretty upset about losing to the Guards, and then they came back out and just cooked up Milano. And
for real, dude, they were.
Ken Allen had a crazy game. 4 rushing touchdowns, set record for most total yards in the game of 551. Like 8 total TDs. Like, he just went crazy, and that was his first. I think that was his first game with the Surge, and he just went nuts. However, I will say this: the Milano fans were still literally cooking, not on the field, but they were cooking. I think we have a video of them. There they are. And you'll see here in a second. I love this. This guy's literally like with like a cooking pot, just banging on this cooking pot.
Yeah,
there he is, right there.
The Milan fans, they bring the vibes, man. They have a really cool entrance. They've got like the smoke and everything. It's not a ton of fans, but they go crazy. They play the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. Like, it's a good vibe. But going back real quick to Ken Allen, I mean, that dude put on a show for those games where he was filling in for Riley Hennessy. Put on an absolute show, threw for over 500 yards, like you said. I'm curious, man, if a team signs him. He's very, very good, and he's a dual threat. I think he's could be a top-level ELF quarterback, as he proved, and I'm just waiting for a team to sign him.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I guess it depends if he wants to keep playing. A lot of these guys, I feel like a lot of these quarterbacks that we're seeing are getting close to 30, and
True.
And everybody has to make that decision. Like, when do you go back to the States and get a job that you can like start to build a career in? Because this league doesn't pay enough money. Football overseas doesn't pay enough to where you could like make enough to retire, and then you're kind of maybe buy something, invest. You're just going to play. So as these guys get older, they have to decide, do I want to keep playing, or do I want to go back and kind of get started on my life? Unless you're someone like Jadrian Clark, who has a dual passport, and he can stay in Europe and build a life for himself there, even when football's not going. And that's what really helps him, Luke Zarodka, people like that who have that.
Exactly. That's a great point, man. Like, you got to take that into account. Sometimes we're wondering, like, hey, why isn't this guy signed yet? He's a great player. Some of these guys, like, they're getting to ripe old age of 30, 31. It's time to hang it up. But I want to see him in the league. He's electric, to steal a word from Pat McAfee. Great football player. So we also, at this point, we've got a few teams that are in the playoff hunts coming between week 9 and week 10. Berlin Thunder, Munich, and Hamburg were all vying for a playoff spot at this time, kind of coming down to the playoff race. And then we had a bye week, week 10 for national team duty. A lot of these guys are playing for their national teams, whether it be the German national team, the Austrian national team, the French, or the Italian national team, former Italian right here. And we had.
What does that mean? You just decided that you don't want to be Italian anymore?
Sorry,
ridiculous.
Former Italian team player. I'm still an
okay,
Italian.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, so that was kind of cool, actually, like to have this organized bye week for everybody to do their national team duties. I just think that's a cool thing, having that. Obviously, everyone plays for their club teams, but still the national team aspect of it, and then you get the rivalries between countries. It's a cool thing.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We had that. Then after the bye week, we had weeks 11 and 12. We're pushing towards the playoffs here. And a big thing was the Prague Lions handed over a home game to the Enthroners. This is a huge deal, obviously, because this is how teams generate a lot of their revenue, is their home games. These are very, very important. And what happened? The Enthroners had a game get canceled.
It was the Prague game, or their home game. I think they had to cancel it because they voted out of it. But this is, I feel like this. I remember a bunch of season ticket holders from Prague, like they didn't get their money back. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
which is not good at all, because if you're trying to get, like, you're probably gonna lose a lot of Prague fans if you try to make a team next year if you're doing stuff like that. So it was classy, but it also hurts a lot of people in Prague.
That's true. Is
I think
a sacrifice for sure. But a nice gesture of sportsmanship there in the Eastern Conference. Then we've got the playoff race in the Central Conference. My personal favorites. We had the Munich Ravens, Stuttgart Surge, and the Innsbruck Raiders all vying for the top spot in the Central Conference. And what was it? The Ravens were playing it coming up against Stuttgart. And I think, we'll save it for the next week. But that was a really tight race at this point in the season. I remember, the vibe with the Surge was just every single game right now is just absolutely precious. We've got to get these wins so we can come out on top of the Central Conference.
Yeah. Then you have J-Dram breaking the TD record in just his 9th game, which again saw that coming. Before that, it was Zach Edwards with 36, and he hit that single season passing touchdown record in week 9.
What is that average?
Or not week 9. It was week 11, but it was 9th game.
Okay. So he's averaging 4 touchdown passes a game at this point. That's pretty damn solid.
So.
Then we had this nice school project where the ELF invited 100 kids to a school in Duisburg to the championship game. I think we've got a little video here. There we go.
Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz Gesamtschule. Und wir treffen gleich die Schüler aus der Oberstufe. Die werden nämlich für uns, für die European League of Football, zum Finale ein großes Banner für uns kreieren, 10 mal 10 Meter. Und als Dank habe ich denen ein bisschen was mitgebracht. Also kommt mit, geht jetzt los. Mein Name ist Patrick Isume, ich bin der Commissioner, der Gründer der European League of Football. Ich komme aus Hamburg, St. Pauli. Bin genau wie ihr. Ich finde es schön, hier an dieser Schule zu sein, weil der Querschnitt ist genau das, wie ich aufgewachsen bin. Und die größte Illusion, dass man geschützt ist, ist das Ding. Setz mal auf. Aber ist das okay mit deiner Frisur? Ja, okay. Wie fühlt sich das an? Das gibt dem Ding die Rotation. Warum ist dein Mittelfinger so lang? Unsere Community im Football ist ganz, ganz eng. Wenn du einmal in der Footballmannschaft warst, bist du in der Familie. Ich möchte euch einladen nach Duisburg ins Stadion am 24.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
I love
really
that, man.
Cool.
The community outreach stuff is super important, and getting people to become football fans, and especially at the young age, it's awesome.
Well, I also love that it's such a cool thing to see him teaching, like, what a helmet is, what's it for, how to throw a football, because that's that's so ingrained in Americans. Like you would never see that. Nobody's
True.
teaching that because everybody already like knows.
Yeah. So it's cool to see it taught from the ground up there and just getting more people involved like that a lot. Then also that week, record-setting returner, the man, Bam, Devin Burrell. This dude is just an absolute killer at returning. He had a punt return touchdown against the Galaxy, set a new record of 5 return touchdowns in a season. That's unbelievable.
I watched him run past us a few times on the sideline. Yeah, he's quick. That guy's quick, and speed kills, especially on that new kickoff format.
Yeah. Oh,
if you can get a speedy return guy with the kickoff format that we have in ELF, you're gonna get a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, man, that was pretty impressive. He's fun to watch. He's really fun to watch. Then, unfortunately, we had some sad news throughout the league. With the passing of a player, Leo Kraft, for the Panthers. He's a Norwegian national, young guy. And the night of the 25th to 26th of August, he unfortunately passed away. This kind of shook the European League of Football community. Very sad thing to see such a young guy, a person who's a part of this tight-knit community of football in Europe, pass away. I think that we've got a video here to kind of pay tribute to Leo and to his family, who everyone is still thinking of and supporting.
We're about to have a moment of silence. This week, a tragic incident involving linebacker Leo Kraft.
Der Wroclaw Panthers, Leo Kraft, ein norwegischer E-Ball-Spieler, der junge Mann mit der Nummer 53, ist in der Nacht von gestern auf heute plötzlich verstorben. Und unsere 53 ist in der Nacht von gestern auf heute plötzlich verstorben. Und unsere Gedanken sind bei Leo.
So once again, a moment of silence for Norwegian international linebacker Leo Kraft, playing with the Wroclaw.
Yeah, that's always hard.
Really tough, yeah. So it was, that was a kind of a shocker, and thoughts and prayers go out, of course, to Leo and his family, and to the Panthers organization, the European League of Football is behind you all. So that was some tough news for that week, but a part of 2023, and now we are transitioning into the next week, where our guy, it seems like we talk about him all the time, Jadrian. He's set. He threw his 50th touchdown pass of the season. Beautiful graphic there. Jadrian just ripping touchdown passes. Makes it look easy, man. He was just.
Yeah, that was all those records. And also my man Glenn Tunga broke the career record for rushing yards. Both of those records happened against the guards. So you're welcome there.
You're a part of those records.
I'm a part of all these records, good and bad. Going into week 14, only 2 conference titles were set at that point, and 4 teams were still fighting for those last 2 playoff spots. We knew Rheinfire was in. We knew the Vikings were in, right? But I think what was it? The Ravens, Thunder, Panthers, and the Raiders were all fighting for those last 2 spots. That was a tight race at the end there.
It really was. And there was a graphic that kind of went out that I thought was a joke, that I thought was a typo. And it was that the Ravens needed to win by 150 points. And if they did that, they would have secured a playoff spot. I thought this was a joke, but it came down to the point differential, and theoretically they would have made the playoffs. But I think it's impressive that they were, obviously that was never going to happen, but it's impressive that they were in the conversation for the playoffs for that first year. Right. Even though they ended up firing their coach. We talked about the Sean Shelton situation. Yeah, so that's there. And to me, I think, is this the right week? I might be a little bit early. Is it? No, the Raiders versus the Stuttgart Surge. This was for the Central Conference title. This was a wild game down in Innsbruck, rainy, stormy, just an absolute battle. And the Surge ended up pulling it out and confirming or clinching the Central Conference. So yeah, it really came down to the end there, which is exciting. And then Silas, we have an interview of you from your last ever football game. Let's see if we got that.
There he is, man. That was an emotional game, man. I cried a lot, I think, because let's play the sound here.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really care too much about the touchdown. I think just being here and being with the guys and listening to the German national anthem and the Swiss national anthem, it just filled my heart with joy, thinking about all the memories in this place.
And what would you say is your best memory of this last season?
I think the best memory was just being able to look around at the players and the fans at every stadium in different countries, and just to see how the sport of football is growing all around the world and connecting people. And that was always the best part for me. I loved getting to see different cultures and the people coming together unified in a sport.
That's true. And what will you miss the most about football?
The people. I'll miss the people. I'll miss getting to learn about different cultures and hear their stories and see how they came to football. I think one of the best moments of the whole year was just the moments that guys come to me and say, hey, because of you, I kept playing football. I pursued it at a better level. And that to me means more than any.
That's it right there, man. Nice frame to freeze on.
How's that feel to watch that, man?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and I remember it took me a long time to answer the question. Like, we were standing there in silence for a while because it was just a big moment for me. And like I said, I cried a lot. I don't know why. Like, all the emotions hit me as soon as the game ended, and I just looked around and saw all these young German and Swiss players who love the game like I did. And I thought back to when I first found football and I fell in love with it, and how far it's taken me around the world and how many people I've met. And like I said in the video, I mean, the culture, the people, all the things that I learned from it. I didn't talk about winning championships or scoring touchdowns because genuinely, I don't remember or will ever really care about that. That's not. It's kind of like Coach Thomas Sula talked about. It's the same thing, It's the people that you actually meet and interact with and get to see and share that love for the game with them. It's just the connecting piece between people, and people are what matter most.
Absolutely, man. I just think, how cool is it that you kind of took the leap of faith in 2016 to move over to Germany to play football, to enter into this weird world that's you probably knew nothing about, and see the journey that it's taking you on. Obviously, a lot of people know you from your media stuff as well, like the YouTube and everything, where you really inspired a lot of people, inspired a lot of young guys to probably get into football. And so the impact you've been able to have on and off the field in the European football community, I mean, I think it's a really, really cool thing, man. And I'm proud of you, man. It's really cool. And it's great that you and I are able to stay involved with football in Europe right now, hosting the show and being able to talk about it all.
Yeah, for sure, awesome, man. I love that we've been able to do that. And it's going to be huge, dude. It is going to be huge at some point, and being able to be a part of it at the beginning is an honor. So yeah, and that right there, my last game, my last present was giving for sure solidifying the Stuttgart Surge as a home team in the playoff picture. So we had two wild card games with the Galaxy and the Thunder. Surge and the Panthers.
There we go.
Obviously we got the Galaxy beating the Thunder at home, but we had a weird ending to that game. Are we going into that? Where are we at right now?
There we go. Yeah, we have the Galaxy. This is in the wild card round. Yeah.
You
touched on it. The kind of scary ending of this game. It was a couple minutes left, and a player collapsed. Not only that, but another player collided with a sideline worker, and this person was down and needed medical attention. And it was a scary moment for a while, and everybody kind of came together. They ended up getting the ambulances and everything, and getting the people taken care of. But the leadership decided to end the game with a few minutes left. It was 20-3, so it was kind of decided. They decided to end the game. What's more important than a sports score is the health of the people in the community. And so it was everyone ended up being okay. And so it was really kind of, now looking back on it, a nice moment to see everybody come together. And we're just thankful everybody is okay. But it shows it's bigger than football, man. It's bigger than wins and losses and touchdowns. Kind of like what you were just saying. It's about the people in the community.
Right.
And so that was pretty special.
We had the Stuttgart Surge kind of handily beat the Panthers at home, which takes it to the semifinals.
Real quick, Silas, I would like to say, I wish that the Munich Ravens could have been in the playoffs this year. I think that they were better than the Panthers and the Berlin Thunder, but just the way of the conferences, I would have loved to see the Munich Ravens in there in one of those. Ravens beat the Surge late in the season. So I'm curious to see how the Ravens come through next year. To see if they make the playoffs. But moving on then to the semifinals, which you just touched on.
Yeah, where we had Master versus Apprentice.
Yes.
Jordan Newman, because he worked as an offensive coordinator for the head coach of the Vikings, correct, Chris?
Right, that's right. He so that's Chris Kalaikai. Fun fact, he's a fellow Oregonian like me, and he went to go be the offensive coordinator for the Vienna Vikings. He worked under Coach Kalaikai for 4 years. They're very close, still close friends to this day, talk all the time. And for them to be facing each other, facing off in the ELF semifinals was a pretty cool thing. And that game was in Vienna. It was a back and forth battle. A ton of people, over 10,000 people there. Surge ended up pulling it out. You got to give a shout out to Daryl Stewart Jr. And I'm like, if you guys go watch the highlights from this game and see what this guy does. He kind of clinched the victory at the end there, just kind of dominating the Vienna Vikings DB, their import DB, Xavier Edwards. He was really putting on a show. And so the Surge ended up making it to the championship game.
Yeah. And then we had Jacob Sullivan and Jadrian Clark again for, like, I don't know how many times they've played each other in that league, but two of the definitely the best QBs in ELF history coming together again. I know that Jacob beat Jadrian's Hamburg Sea Devils back in 2021 in the championship game, but he hasn't really been close to beating the Rhine Fire yet. And we saw the Rhine Fire win that game pretty handily. But we do have they didn't go out without swinging, and you could see that with this hair tackle on Glenn Tunga. I wonder if he lost any of his hair from that, but he did not like that. The Galaxy, they got into it right there. I don't know, Glenn. I don't know if you can get mad at that, man. Like you're the one who decided to have 6 foot long hair. Like, people are grabbing stuff. However, him yanking him down like that was kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. Yeah, that second. Now that I see the second part, that was kind of whack.
It's legal, but is it ethical? That is the question. Chat, you let us know. Chat, let us know if you think that's an ethical move. Is it all fine? It is legal in football. The hair is part of the uniform. That video clip actually ended up going pretty viral. I think ESPN reposted it. It got millions of views. And it was kind of cool to see, even though it was, not necessarily a great play or anything. It was just an interesting football moment, but it got a lot of publicity for the ELF. But in this video, in this game, the Galaxy were leading at halftime. It was 16-14 going into halftime. But man, the Rhine Fire came out of the locker room at halftime and just went crazy. Ended up winning 42-23. It wasn't close. Like you said, they kind of ended up dominating there, and that puts us to a championship game of the Rhine Fire versus the Stuttgart Surge. There's that 2023 playoff picture. And it was exciting playoffs, man. Really exciting following all these games.
Right. And then right in that time of that playoffs, we had some pretty interesting things happen off the field. I know that the Hamburg Sea Devils and their head coach parted ways, which makes sense. Hamburg is one of those teams that everybody expects to be good, and they just haven't been great. They've been subpar. They went 4-8 in 2023, which is just honestly for the Hamburg Sea Devils, it's trash. It's just trash. And
sorry, Hamburg.
So we lost them. Joe Thomas to Munich. That was a big thing.
Yeah,
Servus
this
Munich.
Is huge. We got a video from him.
Thomas, I'm a former offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns. I played 11 years in the NFL before getting inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame this last summer. And my family and I have always dreamed of living abroad. And when I had the opportunity with NFL Network to go and work the NFL Germany game last fall, I fell in love with the city of Munich and the region of Bavaria so quickly. And I was struck by the passion of the fans for American football all throughout Germany and especially in Bavaria. And I am so excited to be joining the Munich Ravens next season to help their offensive line with their technique development, to help recruit players to Bavaria, and to help with developing those players on the Munich Ravens to be the best offensive linemen in all of the European League of Football. I'm excited to help out with the marketing opportunities for the Munich Ravens, and everything is so incredibly exciting for me to be a part of Bavarian culture, the family that is the Munich Ravens, and bringing my kids that are screaming at me right now in the background over to Munich, Germany. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Wow, that's huge. Obviously, it's big for the marketing aspect of the ELF and for the Munich Ravens. And they're just bolstering up. Their offensive line is going to be pretty damn strong. I already know they're signing.
Munich's the sleeper. They got a lot going on. Munich's a huge city. They got NFL is tied up with Munich because of the NFL games. It's going to be big. Then we moved on after that to before the championship game. We have the honors hosted by the one and only Sweaty Nauf.
Show the picture.
There he is.
Sweaty guy right there. We'll just touch on three of the biggest honor awards. We had the homegrown of the year, Polish running back David Brzozowski, killing it. Then we also had the coach of the year, our guest from a couple weeks ago, Coach Jim Tomsula, and the absolutely unsurprising most valuable player of 2023 was Adrian Clark. Set every record.
Yeah, and that led us to the championship game, which we've talked a lot about, obviously, and we'll just rehash this shortly. 31.5 thousand fans, biggest championship game since NFL Europe. It hit 660,000 viewers on ProSieben, which is huge.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing that number. 660,000 TV viewers. That's great. It's like a really popular Silas Nasita video back in the day.
Back in the day, dude.
Man. But it was really, really a great game. Obviously, we've touched on it a little bit, but the Surge came out. They scored the first touchdown. Riley Hennessy to Lewis Geyer, and loud environments. After that, the Fire kind of stepped on the gas a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And near halftime, it was a close game. But then in the second half, I mean, the Fire just took over a little bit.
A great game, though. Offensive, high-scoring games, dude. I know you're a defense guy, but fans love score points. They love seeing points scored, and it's more that is a great score versus a 6-3 championship game.
True. Great point, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think one of my favorite moments, though. Did you want to add something?
No, I was just gonna say. Sorry that we do have a video. Jadrian obviously won the MVP trophy, and he gave it to a lucky fan. He didn't give it. Let this woman hold it in the stands, which is kind of cool.
I love her reaction right there. She's tripping.
Yeah.
And I also love that he's signing a Hamburg Sea Devils jersey.
True.
But I know how. I mean, I've been in that position where someone hands they're like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And you're just like have something in your hands. You gotta hand it to someone, which is pretty funny. It would have been more funny if she thought that he was giving it to her and she just left.
Yeah. Well, Jadrian does a good job, man. He's like obviously one of the faces of the Rhine Fire and of the league. He does a good job being this quarterback star. You and I have both known Jadrian for a long time, and it's cool to see him having all of this success. And yeah, he's a great star quarterback for the league, and it's exciting that he's re-signs, and we've got him again for 2020, 2024. Dart Clark.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
It's a nice
and that's really your 2023 season. Ryan Fire win it all. Everybody knew, honestly, everybody knew that from the beginning. Like, I don't think there was anybody who was questioning whether or not they were probably going to win it. So
exactly. There it is. We've got just a final community corner here that we will touch on. Just a few questions from you guys from the week here, Silas. Let's see. You want to take that first one? What we got?
Yeah, sure. The game in Volksparkstadion obviously was a great experience, but being at Ville, seeing the first victory of the Guards was also a top moment. The fans, even though it's a small stadium, gave it their all. Great atmosphere, and that long goal from the kicker. That is true, man. That is true. That first game that we won, I think it was against Barcelona. Yeah, it was Barcelona. We went to like 3 overtimes. Man, we had to fight so hard just to get one win. That was awesome. Thank you.
I remember when you guys had that. So we've got, these aren't questions this week. Sorry, correction. These are top moments for fans. So people submitted their favorite moments of the season.
That was a great. I agree with that. That was a great moment.
That was a great one. All right, what do we got next year? First home game of the Munich Ravens in, I don't know how to pronounce that, Unterhaching. No, new built team, new city. Expected attendance was around 3,000 to 4,000. Actual attendance, nearly 8,000. What a pleasant surprise and a huge American football interest around Munich. Yeah, I remember watching that on the ELF Game Pass and seeing the crowd there for the first ever Ravens home game and was just shocked. It was awesome to see that. And I mean, that was against Innsbruck Raiders, I think, and just a great debut for a new team. Mm-hmm. And did you play there? Did you guys play at Munich this year?
Yeah, everybody plays twice.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, true.
It was I liked it. Great stadium.
Yeah, really good home environment. Good football in Munich. Okay. Ooh.
Oh man, yeah. The forced fumble. I wouldn't say that was a top moment for who was it? Yannick? Was it Yannick?
That was Yannick, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's probably not his top moment, but 4 interceptions against Stuttgart.
Hey, that's a good one for you guys.
Yeah, that's a great one for us. And again, not a good one for Stuttgart. But Stuttgart in the finals, yeah, those were all great moments.
Fantastic. Yeah, Surge in the finals. That's got to be one for me. For me, I would say it had to have been the Innsbruck Raiders versus Stuttgart Surge, basically Central Conference Championship game. I said it earlier, in the rain, very dramatic, felt like a movie. I was filming it. I had a garbage bag over my head. Just getting, Silas, how footage looks great in the rain. And I was just like, oh, this is sick. Great game. And it was obviously huge for the Surge, a team that I've got to be a part of. So those are kind of, that would be my top moment. Do you have your own personal favorite, Silas?
I think winning that first one was pretty great. I think for me personally, there was a moment in the last game where one of the younger players, like something happened where it wasn't really his fault and the coach like yelled at him or something. And he was like sitting on the bench and I was sitting right next to him and he was freaking out. He was just like, I didn't make a mistake. Like coach yelled at me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I just like, there was this moment of like all the years of playing football and like my last game, it was like the last quarter, and I was just thinking about how that little moment of being yelled at is so little, and how many times I've been yelled at or whatever. And it's just like when you finish playing the game, you're never going to remember if you made a mistake on that play or if you got yelled at for not making a mistake or whatever it was. And I just like put my arm on his shoulder and I just said, "It's okay, man. It's just a game."
I love that. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
No, just I in that moment, I just felt like all the years and what really mattered about football, because I saw this like young guy freaking out, and I was like, "That's not what it's about, man."
What I was going to say is, from the outside, that looks like such a tiny moment, but your experience of it is like so profound, and that's kind of what you can get is in football. You know, football's a game of inches and if tiny little moments, but they mean a lot. They're way bigger than they might appear right there. And obviously, like you say, you're consoling your teammate. It's obviously also so much more about what goes on the fields. That's what's super exciting about this sport, and it's awesome to see it growing in Europe in 2023. Yeah. I mean, that was fun to recap everything. What an awesome year for the league, and we're looking forward to 2024, man. We're looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, that's 2023. A lot happened, and I'm expectant of a lot more in 2024.
Absolutely. So, guys, I think that's going to be wrapping it up for our 2023 recap. Silas, we went for an hour and a half, just you and me talking.
I know. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's too much information from me.
We got a lot of information for you guys. There we go.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. So that's our last show of 2023. 2024, we will be back, and I think we'll have some guests next week, and we'll kick off the 2024 year of ELF football, and that we are just happy to have you guys here joining us on the show. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking ELF football.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. We will see you next week.